Part 2. You are on a tour of England, and your coach has just arrived in Fancaster. The courier is telling you the history of the town before you explore it. For questions 9 to 17, complete the notes about the town. Listen very carefully, as you will hear the recording once only.
Here we are in Fancaster. It's an historic place thousands of people visit every year. Let me tell you a bit about it before you explore. Do interrupt if there's anything you'd like to ask or don't understand.
Okay.
As you can see, it's old. But how old is Fancaster? People ask me. Well, it depends what you mean by Fancaster. In fact, there was a very primitive settlement not far from where we are right now, between 2500 and 2250 BC.
How long ago?
At the earliest 2500 and the latest 2250 BC. But it wasn't really a proper town, just huts on the hilltop, probably for defence.
How do we know?
It was excavated a few years ago. Fancaster really started as a recognisable sort of town much later. As many of you may know, the Romans arrived in Britain in the
of rush matting, supported by bamboo poles, and as the floodwater gets deeper, people are forced to move to higher and higher land, taking their houses with them.
And what about food supplies?
Well, I was of course studying the merchants, and it was quite impressive how they had managed to move all their stock well above flood level, and were able to double prices in some areas of the capital that were cut off. The price of grain varied by about 100%, depending on where you were in the city. Now, what the government tries to do in these circumstances is two things. One is to try to sell some of its stock on the open market at low prices in a vain effort to bring down prices, and the other thing is to organise relief and soup kitchens in conjunction with the international charities.
How did you manage to get out? Because the airport was underwater for a lot of the time, and there just weren't any flights.
I, of course, double reconfirmed my ticket out. But on the day itself, I was told that the flight didn't exist, and really only got out because there was a spare seat on another flight. As we taxied for takeoff, the wings of the F-28, which is by no means a large plane, were actually over the floodwaters on the runway, which didn't inspire a great deal of confidence. So it was one of the most spirited takeoffs I've ever had.
But you lived to tell the tale.
Yes.
That is the end.